welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a deck profile here on my Darkus Ventus deck. This is also with the add-on of an Aurelus Bakugan to actually facilitate power boosts. But with that being said, let's just actually move these aside and I'll showcase what Bakugan I'm actually playing in this particular deck. So the first Bakugan I'm actually playing over here is Gorthion Ultra. I was actually quite surprised that this was actually an Ultra, considering how it actually turned. However, when I actually did the rolling and opened it up, I didn't realize how much it could actually jump. It's quite amazing and it is a very nice card. It also gives us pretty awesome Bakugans as well. For example, we get a Fire Fist, which is not particularly the best, but it's also never a disadvantage to have a Fire Fist. But we are actually getting a Magic Shield, which is absolutely amazing as a Bakugan. You always get the greatest of stats, and I do think that till this day it is one of the best Bakugans out there. Now with that being said, it also has amazing raw stats as well. While it only has 1 damage, it has a raw 600 B power, which I think is quite good for a lot of Bakugans. So if you could actually get this kind of particular ratio, then it is very amazing. The next card we actually have over here is our Pandox Ultra. Pandox Ultra is also an amazing card as well. It jumps really amazingly, so being that it's an Ultra, it definitely gives us the edge. We get a regular shield and a green fist, so pretty standard, pretty average. Green fist isn't necessarily the best, but it's not the worst either. And we have the regular shield, which I think these days it's become quite decent, even though it doesn't give as much as the magic shield. However, with that being said, this has amazing raw stats, 604 damage, which is way better than Gorthion, and it also has Victor as well, where your opponent may energize a card in their hand. Of course, they have to give some sort of advantage to the opponent, but that's okay, you know, because we actually have amazing raw stats here, and I'm not going to complain about that. But that's 2 Ultras so far. The last and final Bakugan we're playing in the deck here is our Aurelus Ultra, one of my most favorite Bakugans actually, because of its amazing stats. Firstly, it also gives us Fire Fist and Green Fist, which again, I'm not going to necessarily complain, they are not the worst, but we do actually have this bonus where if you land on a Fire Fist, then you're most likely going to get +3 damage, which is going to be amazing. Raw stats also really amazing, +800 B power and a 1 damage, but with this of course then it becomes 4 damage, which is going to, if anything, be stronger than Pandox himself as well. So I love Aurelus Ultra for what it is, amazing raw stats, and what it offers is definitely something that you can't take for granted. But with that being said, you guys have already noticed by now, but we are playing 3 different Ultras in this entire deck, meaning we definitely have quite an advantage if our opponent is actually playing some core Bakugan. This deck is also highly focusing on power boost, so with that being said, we're going to show off what we actually have for the Bakugans. Of course, don't limit yourself to what I'm playing, limit yourself to what you're actually playing. So if you actually own better Bakugans, then definitely I encourage you to actually play them. However, with that being said, we have our first one, which is a Magic Shield, +650, absolutely amazing. We're also playing 2 Green Fists at +150, +2. So like I said, it's not amazing, but again, it's not really a disadvantage either. Next, we have over here +6 for both of our Fire Fists over here, which is definitely quite nice given that some of them are actually quite low at 1, so that makes up for it. And the final one here is a Magic Shield at 300 B power, which, like I said, Magic Shield is not as good as Magic Shield. Well, regular shield is not as good as Magic Shield, but it still offers us something quite decent at 300. But with that being said, let's move everything aside and move on with the deck profile. Alright, so on with the deck itself, let's begin with the low cost cards. We're playing here 2 copies of Turn to Energy. It's 2 energy, but of course it is going to energize this particular card uncharged. Technically it is a -1, but it allows you to energize, which is definitely powerful for setting up you into the later turns. Next, we're playing 3 copies here of Smash. It's also 2 costs, very cheap, but gives us 3 B power, or well, not B power, but 3 damage, which is absolutely going to make up for a Bakugan that is kind of lacking in that department. Now moving on to our 3 costs, we're playing 3 flip cards, repel outsiders, an absolute amazing card for the fact that, well, it just negates any attack from any non-Ventus Bakugan, which is absolutely amazing. It's definitely going to help you out quite a lot. However, we are also playing 3 copies here of Deafening Roar. You guys already remember this from one of my previous Bakugan deck profiles, but I love this card for the fact that it gives minus 600 B power on your opponent's Bakugan. Going to be really amazing, of course, and yeah, I really love this card for what it is because it's so cheap as well at 3 cost. Now for a bit of a late game card at a 4 cost, we're playing 3 copies over here of Ventus Body Slam. I think it's really interesting seeing the artwork as it is. However, it is a 4 cost, so 1 extra cost, but you're this time reducing the B power by 900, which is a whopping amount, meaning majority of the time this combos off with any of your Bakugan because all of our Bakugan's raw B power is already so high. So together with this, we will be dealing with quite a lot of our opponent's Bakugan. So moving on to the darkest cards, we're playing 3 copies here of Chaotic Darkness. It's a 1 cost, extremely cheap, and you simply choose a player to discard a card. You are technically losing a card yourself in Chaotic Darkness, but it's a cheap card and you could potentially get rid of one of your opponent's stronger cards, putting them at a far more disadvantage than you are. We don't have any 2 costs here, but we are playing 1 3 cost, and that would be our Stone Skin. It's a 3 cost, 3 copies of it, and it gives 200 B power. However, as sacrifice, you can discard a card and make it 800 instead, which is definitely going to guarantee that you'll get over every single Bakugan. Next, we're playing over here Thought Decay. Thought Decay is also an amazing card. It's 4 costs, so it does move into the late game, but it's still an amazing card for the fact that you choose a player to discard 2 cards. So while it is a bit more expensive than the Chaotic Darkness, you're forcing an extra card off your opponent's hand, and your opponent is definitely going to be put at a very significant disadvantage. They won't be able to combo. You don't realize that 1 card, even losing just 1 card, is going to be quite a big deal in actually detrimenting your combo plays. Now for a bit of cards that kind of give us a bit of an advantage in our own scenarios, we actually are playing over here 2 copies of Dark Boost. It's a 2 cost, it's very cheap, and it gives us plus 5 power, or plus 5 damage that is, and that will make up for the lacking of damage that our Bakugan actually have as part of its raw power. We are also going to be playing here Cloak and Shadow, 3 copies, also a 2 cost, very cheap, but it gives us 3 damage, which is definitely going to again make up for the fact that we lack it in our raw power. And we are also giving our Bakugan Shadow Strike, which I absolutely love as a mechanic. I think it's a bit more superior than Frost Strike, but yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. Overall, both versions are definitely good. Both Frost Strike and Shadow Strike are amazing, but I'm gonna have to give the liking here to the Shadow Strike for the fact that it's just so much better. Next, we're also playing 3 copies here of Mind Slip, also 2 costs. Choose a player to discard a card, and then you may re-roll your Bakugan. Absolutely amazing. We're getting more cards out of your opponent's hands, but to also be able to re-roll your Bakugan is definitely going to help you out for the fact that sometimes you might make a blunder. Here's a bit more of the 3 costs. We're playing here 3 copies of the Cycling Madness, a really amazing card. You get to draw a card, then your opponent discards a card, and you return this card to the bottom of the deck to recycle itself again. Because it's also very cheap, I figure why not? Let's increase the consistency and let's really force cards out of your opponent's hand. By the time you actually cycle through or use all your cards that force your opponents to discard their hand, they're going to pretty much be top decking majority of the time. They're not going to have anything in their hand. Of course, we can't forget about Evos, so we're playing 2 copies here of Hyper Hydrus Ultra, very cheap at 3 cost, making it 3 damage and 1000 B power. It's going to get over a lot. However, if you land on a 5 fist, also gives you 5 additional damage, putting it at 8 damage, very amazing, and also gives Shadow Strike as well, which is definitely going to help in this situation. We're playing 1 hero card, and that would be China Riot. It simply gives 1 damage to your attacks, and if this card is actually discarded, then you may also play it for free. We are playing only 1 card that actually has sacrifice, but either way, this card will act as that particular fodder when that time comes. And lastly, for our deck, we can't forget about a flip card. We're playing 3 copies here of Pact of Darkness. It's a 4 cost, that's no big deal, because it stops all dark monsters, which is absolutely amazing, but it also has sacrifice, so if you discard a card, then you could play this for free. So if you discard your China Riot, you could actually just play this for free, so quite amazing, and I really love Pact of Darkness for what it actually does. However, with that being said, I do thank you guys for actually joining me today for this particular deck profile, and I hope it gives you ideas on how you could actually build your own. But with that being said, definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and don't forget to share it as well to anyone else who might be having trouble building a deck that focuses on both Darkus and Ventus. But of course, don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.